What's going on, 49er faithful, 49er fam, 49er gang? It's your boy 49er Dion back here with another video. Definitely wanted to get into a few things, so definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on them post notifications so I can keep you up to date on any and everything San Francisco 49ers. Now, with that being said, let's jump right on into it. So, big news out of 49er land is Kyle Shanahan gets a new deal. That's right, people. Kyle Shanahan has gotten himself a 6-year extension on the current extension that he already had. So, what does that go ahead and say for the franchise? They believe in the man. They feel like he's worth every penny. He is now in the top 5 of highest paid head coaches in the league. And I mean, hey, he deserves it. You know, the man is a offensive genius, and he's done some great things for us. And, you gotta think about it. First year 6-10, 6-10, next year 4-12, and then next year 13-3 and a fucking Super Bowl? Are you serious? Man, talk about a turnaround, bro. We went from worst to first in a real way. And we had an epic showdown with the Seahawks to get that number 1 seed, to get that extra rest for our players. All kinds of things happened. But the beauty of it is Kyle Shanahan has been paid properly, man, and we are good to go. So the next thing up everybody asking a question about would be George Kittle. Now, you want Kittle to get an extension. You want him to get paid. I say at a max we pay that man $16 million per year. I don't see another reason why we should pay him more than that. From what I hear around different NFL circles and different people in the media is that the man's asking for $20 million per year. That's a lot of money for a tight end, y'all. I understand the man can block. I understand the man can catch. I understand that he is a once-in-a-generation type player. But at the same time, you ain't never seen a tight end make more than $10 million a year. The market was set by Jimmy Graham. Travis Kelce barely make $10 million. Austin Hooper is the one who's getting, I think, like 10.6. So if you give George Kittle 16 mil, that's still $6 million more than the highest paid tight end in the league. So to me, I think that's more than fair and it's more than reasonable. I also have heard that we offered him 14 million, and his agent turned that down and said, "Nah, man, we ain't 14 mil. Get up out of here. We want more than that." So I can understand from a player's perspective because you got to get your money while you can. The older you get, the cheaper they want to go ahead and be with your contracts. And, the younger you are, the more guaranteed money you're looking for, and the more you're looking to get paid. So I understand from a player standpoint, but then at the same time, from a franchise standpoint, if we give you $20 million and we paying our quarterback 27, like that hinders us from being able to sign free agents and or sign unrestricted free agents that we have on the team to be able to keep the squad together so we can keep winning Super Bowls and keep, with our winning ways in general. But with that being said, 16 million is the max for me. If you don't want to take 16 million, I'll franchise tag that ass and I'll go ahead and do what I need to do. So next thing up on the list is everybody says Shanahan got himself a deal. Why didn't John Lynch get one? Now the next question about that is why should John Lynch get one? Lynch still technically has 3 years remaining on his deal. So it's not like he's going anywhere anytime soon. When they first initially brought him and Shanahan in, they married them together with a 6-year contract for each person. But the thing is that Shanahan hasn't really necessarily hit really hard with his drafts, and he hasn't really made really huge splashes in free agency outside of, trading draft picks for players. Dee Ford and Trent Williams are big players. They do big things. When Dee Ford's on the field, our defense is tremendously better in ways you can't even imagine. We get more sacks, everything moves faster, things just work out better for us. When he's off the field, we slow down. We don't look as good. Trent Williams, Pro Bowl left tackle. You get this man for a 5th and a 3rd round pick, that's a steal for a dude like that. Just like it was a steal when we traded a couple years ago and got Jimmy Garoppolo for a 2nd round pick. But that was all due to Bill Belichick being a good person about it and saying, "Jimmy, I'm not going to ship you off to Siberia, NFL Siberia," as my boy Dre says, where you have some old shitty-ass team Because from rumors it was the Browns that called them a million times over, offering them everything under the sun if they could get Jimmy G, but they would not trade him. Bill Belichick originally wanted to move on from Tom Brady to Jimmy G, but of course we all know how that worked out. Tom thwarted that. He went in the office, so on and so forth. We're not going to get into that. But let's get into John Lynch. Let's get into his drafts. So John Lynch has had 4 drafts from 2017 all the way through to 2020. Now the thing about that is that what you want to do is you want to draft, and you want to draft for the future, but at the same time you want to draft some dudes who can be impact players. John Lynch, technically speaking, has only drafted 7 players out of 27 players that are starters. That's about a 26% swing, and probably about an 8% hit on players that will start every year. Now, I'm not sure of the exact numbers when it comes down to it, but at the end of the day, 8 out of 27, I don't know, man. And his first round picks haven't been ridiculously great. So let's just go over these picks. Starting from 2017 all the way through to 2019, we're going to go over just the first round picks. Solomon Thomas, Reuben Foster, Mike McGlinchey, and Nick Bosa. We're not going to count this year because those guys haven't done anything in the NFL. They don't have any real relevancy as of right now outside of just being picked in the first round. We don't have a resume for them from the NFL from that standpoint, so that's why I'm not necessarily including them. So basically, Solomon Thomas, bust. Rumor was we weren't supposed to draft him in the first place because scouts didn't like him, and they drafted him anyway. And he hasn't done much of anything since he's been in the league. Reuben Foster. Unfortunately, the man got injured when he went ahead and left and went to Washington. We had him for a little bit. He wound up getting domestic violence issues. We said, all right, we give you one shot. You good? All right. Next thing you know, he did it again. We cut him. So another wasted first round pick. Didn't really actually work out. Now, Mike McGlinchey and Nick Bosa are both starters at their respective positions, so he hit on those two. Next up, second round, Dante Pettis and Deebo Samuel. Dante was great at the end of his first year, marred by injuries in the beginning of his first year, but came on strong. I think he had about 5 touchdowns and a nice amount of yardage. But then his second year, he all but disappeared. Why? Because this man Deebo Samuel came on the scene and took his job from him. He Deebo'd Dante for his job, relegated Dante to the bench pretty much, and Dante didn't seem to have too much of a problem with it. He seemed to be very happy and comfortable sitting on the bench and not doing much. And he was only in the game for small spurts here and there, and that was really only until Emmanuel Sanders got there last year. And as soon as Emmanuel Sanders got there, you would see more of Dante, Deebo, and KB. You just started to see. I'm sorry, not Dante, Deebo, and KB. Deebo, KB, and Emmanuel Sanders. You just started to see Dante just slowly fade away. If you ever seen that little meme with Homer Simpson where he's fading into the bushes like this, and you start seeing him, that was Dante last year, man. He just faded away. So you hit on one of your second round picks. Third round picks, Akello, CJ, Beathard, Fred Warner, Tarvarius Moore, and Jalen Hurd. Jalen Hurd is a question mark. He didn't play last year. He had a bad back. By all accounts in the offseason, he looks great. He's been working out with Jimmy G constantly. So let's hope that he can get healthy and we can see what we got in Jalen Hurd. Tarvarius Moore experimented at cornerback. Wasn't really that great at cornerback. Putting back in his natural position of safety. The man thrived, looks a lot better. Anytime one of the safeties go down, usually Tarvarius Moore is the one who steps in and he does his thing. Fred Warner, starter. One of the best Mike linebackers in the league. Doesn't get a lot of credit for it because he's a very quiet and humble dude. But at the end of the day, Fred is definitely probably at least the top 5 to top 10 Mike linebackers in the league currently right now. That man is a beast. CJ Beathard, one of Kyle Shanahan's little love children. He had to have him. He went up to go get him. And CJ has done nothing for us. He's only gotten us 1 win in his whole career. Now, he's brought us a couple of close games, but other than that, CJ's just not the guy. He wound up being pushed to the 3rd round spot by an undrafted free agent named Nick Mullins, who went to the same college as Brett Favre. And he came in and he gave us at least 4 wins. So it is you know, exactly what we saw. C.J. Beathard is pretty much that guy. And Keller Witherspoon, what can we say? The man can't get over the mental hurdles in the game. He has to understand you make mistakes, you have a bad day, you have a bad game. And the situation needs to be, he needs to get over that, he needs to move on from it so he can continue to focus on the next play and make a play. If he doesn't get over those mental hurdles, he will continue to wind up being relegated to special teams and or, third string duties. Because Emmanuel Sanders came in and seemed to be doing perfectly fine, and he seemed to be playing better than Akello. When Akello went down for those couple of weeks, after that he was never the same. His first couple of games during the season last year, he looked great. He looked spectacular. He had, I think, 2 picks. He had a pick 6 against Jameis, and then he had another pick. And then when he went down with that injury, he just wasn't the same afterwards. Jumped to the 4th round. 3 picks in the 4th round. Joe Williams, Kentavious Street, and Mitch Wisnowski. He only hit on Mitch Wish because he's our starting punter. Still think Mitch Wish was a high draft pick for a punter. But hey, the man worked out. He put the ball in the air so long you can have a 3-course meal, fuck your wife, and go on ahead and stand up, and the ball might be coming down or it still might be hanging in the air. Joe Williams doesn't even play football anymore. Didn't want to play football when he was at Utah. He wound up quitting on the team. Kyle Shanahan had to have the guy. So what happened? We drafted him. Boom. He ain't even did nothing for us. Ain't going to do nothing for us. Not even playing football. Kentavious Street, when we drafted him, we redshirted the man. We knew off rip this guy was not going to play for a year. The next year, he didn't even play. The next year, he barely played. So we just wasted a 4th round pick on a dude who's never done nothing for the franchise. Ever. George Kittle in the 5th round. Here we go. George Kittle, Trent Taylor, Dre Greenlaw, DJ Reed. Now, Kittle's a bona fide superstar. Number 1 tight end in the league. Hit on that one. Trent Taylor, when healthy, one of the best slot receivers in the game. Keyword, when healthy. Unfortunately, he's not always healthy. That's the biggest issue, people. We're trying our best to make sure that he can stay healthy so we can put him in the slot and we can start possibly Brandon Ayuk and Debo, and or Debo and KB, whatever combination we need. Next up, Dre Greenlaw. Boom, he hit on that guy. Dre Greenlaw came in and played spectacular. He's been doing fantastic since he's been here. Not to mention the character of the man, as a human being in general. Off the field, he's a great person, a great human being. And when he's on the field, he's a monster. He barely misses tackles. He had a great interception when we played Seattle. He had to stop on the goal line against the tight end for us to be able to get the number 1 seed last year. Dre Greenlaw is a monster. That man is great. DJ Reed, not really played out too well. DJ Reed was supposed to come in and be our nickelback. Never won the spot because K1 stopped that shit right then and there. K1 said, y'all brought a rookie in to come and take my spot. I'll show y'all why the hell I deserve to be the man on this nickel. He's the best nickelback in the league. If you find another one better, please by all means tell me and I'll shut you down with facts. K1 is the best nickelback in the league. There is no one better. 6th round, DJ Jones, Peter, Marcel Harris, Caden Smith, Justin School, Tim Harris. And I can tell you right now, DJ Jones, great run stuffer. We got to work on him as a pass rusher. So that's why we don't really see him on pass downs. So I'd give him he did all right with that pick. Peter, ain't even on the team no more. He was relegated to special teams when he was there, and he never really did anything for us on the field. Marcel Harris. Marcel Harris is a great tackler, but Marcel Harris has to be very mindful, and he's still got a lot to learn in this league about the numbers and figures of the things that he needs to do to be able to get better. Sometimes he over pursues, so he misses tackles, and there are some times where he goes low and he throws his shoulder instead of just trying to wrap the man up top. You need to put your arms out, hug that man and tackle him. Hug him like you ain't seen him in 30 years and he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But that's one thing that he has to work on. Caden Smith, he doesn't even play for us anymore. We drafted the man and traded him over to the Giants. He is a New York football giant, people. Caden Smith is not even on the squad. Justin School came in and played admirably for Joe Staley when he went down. Amazing, amazing progress for a rookie. I like this kid. He will definitely make the squad this year. Justin School was a pretty good pick, at least for a 6th rounder, man. Hey, we got a great one in the 6th round. Tim Harris wound up getting injured. Don't know what he is. Don't know much about him. Don't really know much about his college career, so we can't really do anything with him. Him and Jalen Hurd have an asterisk next to their names. strictly because they didn't play and they were injured. So we don't really know much about either one of them. 7th round, Adrian Colbert, Richie James, Julian Taylor, and that's pretty much it. Adrian Colbert had one pretty good season toward the end of his first year. After that, crap, nothing else, worthless. Wound up getting cut and wound up losing his job after Jimmy Ward got healthy. Richie James relegated to special teams, punt return, kick return. Never really gotten a fair chance in the actual offense, so we don't really know what he could be. I do believe that Richie James probably could be a pretty cool slot receiver if you gave him a chance, but it doesn't seem like they give him any opportunities in the offense, so you can't say that there's anything negative about Richie, but you still have to know that he's possibly a little bit of an enigma because we don't see him in the offense, so we don't know what else he can bring. In the preseason, him and Nick Mullins had a really good connection, and they had been doing great. I did see that he probably only dropped one would-be touchdown pass in the preseason, but it's unfortunate. Julian Taylor, nothing really, man. Another guy, preseason, looks great. Season, either injured or just doesn't get playing time. So it's extremely unfortunate, man. So you got to think about it, man. That's 6 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, 5 third-rounders, 3 fourth-rounders, 5 fifth-rounders, 7 sixth-rounders, and 4 seventh-round picks. You know what I'm saying? So think about it like this. Out of all those players, he has 7 starters, and he has at least 6 Pro Bowlers. And the reason I say that is because Nick Bosa, Pro Bowler to me. Fred Warner, definitely a Pro Bowler to me. Debo, Pro Bowler. George Kittle, Pro Bowler. Dre Greenlaw, definitely should be, a Pro Bowler in years to come. He's definitely working toward it. And Mike McGlinchey, definitely, a great right tackle in the league. He may not be number 1, but he's for damn sure at least top 5 dead or alive in that right tackle as of right now. So you got to think about it, man. First round only has 2 starters, McGlinchey and Bosa. Second round only has Debo as a starter. His 3rd round picks, Fred's a starter. 4th round pick, Mitch Wisnowski is our starting punter. 5th round pick, you got George and Dre Greenlaw. So about 26% of the players that he's drafted are starters out of 27 players that he's drafted in those first 3 years in the league. So for me, if y'all want to know why he probably hasn't received an extension yet, that could be a possibility. He doesn't make big moves in free agency. He doesn't make splashes for big name players. We haven't had a dude like that as far as GM since we had Scott McCloughan back in the days before we wound up with weak ass Trent Baalke and him and everything and I don't know what's going on and I'm just trying to draft the best players for the squad and since we wound up with that fool and his trades and drafts were abysmal. And I mean, the thing is, we haven't been active in the offseason in general since Scott McCloughan was there because he went out, he got Nate Clement, he went and got the Cowboy. He went ahead and drafted, we had Patrick Willis, we had Navarro Bowman, we had Joe Staley, we had all these guys, Colin Kaepernick was, no, he wasn't there when Scott McCloughan was there. He was there when Baalke was there. But basically, but McCloughan made moves in the offseason for big name players and would pay them because he knew that was how you started to win. You made the squad better. And John Lynch doesn't really do that. He tries to build his stuff through the draft. But if you draft 27 players and only 7 of them are starters, excuse me, guys, only 7 of them are starters, I mean, you got work to do. Now I'll throw in just a little caveat for this year. First round pick Javon Kinlaw, first round pick Brandon Ayuk, 5th round pick Colton McKivitz, 6th round pick Charlie Warner, 7th round pick Jawan Jennings. Now out of all of those dudes right there, the only 2 people I actually expect to start is gonna be possibly Brandon Ayuk and Javon Kinlaw. And the reason that I state that is because Kinlaw is basically DeForest Buckner's replacement. If you don't know already, we did trade DeForest Buckner to the Indianapolis Colts for that 13th pick in the NFL draft. And we traded him because he wanted a little more money than we were willing to pay. So we got basically a younger version of him Hopefully he stays healthy and we can definitely get some great production out of him. Brandon Ayuk, they jumped up to draft him because they got smoke blown up their ass by the Green Bay Packers, talking about they was going to go get him. And the Green Bay Packers drafted Aaron Rodgers' eventual replacement in Jordan Love out of Utah State, which I watched the tape, and this dude was definitely nothing to be gushing over, and he definitely wasn't worth the first round pick. I can tell you right now, you're going to need him to sit just like A-Rod did. He's going to have to sit for at least 3 to 4 years before he's ready to start, because the man is definitely not starting caliber material in the NFL as of any time soon. But as far as that goes, this year is going to be the revenge tour. Will you see John Lynch get an extension? I'm going to err on the side of caution, and if I had to go with their percentage, I'd probably say it's an 80-20 split. 80 he does, 20 he doesn't. And the reason I say 20 he doesn't is, like I said, just look at the moves that he's made since he's been here, and then the ratio, just 26%. Every year, that means about at least 8% of the players he drafts are going to wind up either being starters or possible stars in the NFL. Now, I don't know what the numbers are rated against the rest of the league as far as kind of how they hit on that, but I can tell you right now, 26% isn't bad, but it's not fantastic. You really want to try your best to make sure that you draft the best players available. And a lot of the players that he drafted wound up just being injury-prone dudes. You know what I'm saying? He drafted Kentavious Street knowing he was already injured and wasn't going to play. That was a waste of a pick. And a lot of the times what I don't like is in our drafts is sometimes Kyle will get to a point where he loves a player so much he wants to go up and get him. So they make the decision. And then sometimes John will draft a player who just doesn't fit the squad. So it can be a little frustrating, but at the same time, I still think that at the end of the day, John Lynch has done a pretty good job as our GM, hitting on at least 8% of the people in each year in the drafts that you've had. It seems to be okay. His draft day trades are trash. I don't care what nobody says. Save for the Trent Williams trade, most of the trading that he does is very pedestrian. He has to probably sit down with some more experienced GMs and get the experience. Pick their brains, ask those questions, and learn from them, because that will show him exactly how he needs to be as a GM, and then he can go ahead and make better decisions in the future. Because typically, if I give up a first-round pick, you giving me either your first-round pick and another pick, or you're giving me at least 2 picks. I'm getting your second and your third rounder at a bare minimum. I'm not getting some late round pick or anything like that. He did go ahead and at least move Marquise Goodwin, and he moved Matt Breida. Goodwin's an Eagle, and Matt Breida is now a Miami Dolphin. Wish Matt Breida nothing but the best. Hopefully he gets back to himself and he shines down there. Wish Keish nothing but the best, but he couldn't stay healthy, and at the same time, there wasn't really nothing we could really do with him. His job was to stretch the field. So what do we do in free agency? We go get Travis Benjamin, who's familiar with Kyle, familiar with the system, and he's a speedster. So hopefully we can use him to stretch the field if he even makes the squad, because we have a ridiculously deep wide receiving core, and it's going to take a lot to make this team. So guys like Dante Pettis, guys like Sean Poindexter and Chris Thompson and Richie James, those are going to be the guys that are on the outside looking in going, can I make this squad? What can I do to be able to get more reps? What can I do to impress the coaches to be able to show them that I still want to be here, that I want to be a 49er, that I want to be a part of this winning culture? You got to fight for a spot on the squad, because nothing's ever solidified. I'd say there's only a few spots solidified on this squad, and I can guarantee you Jimmy G is one of them, Debo is the other, George Kittle is definitely solidified, Nick Bosa solidified, most likely D Ford solidified, Eric Armstead solidified, Uncle Sherm solidified, Kwaski T and Dub, Jimmy Ward are solidified, Fred Warner solidified, but everything else pretty much seems to be up for grabs. But any position is up for grabs if you perform well enough, and that's just the kind of culture that we bring. We want to make sure that players know, hey, if you come in here and you bust your ass, you perform right, you'll get on the field. We'll make sure we get some playing time for you. But as of right now, just wanted to touch on that. 7 actual starters out of 27 players. We got to do a little bit better in these drafts, John Lynch. and hopefully we don't wind up trading away the damn farm, to be able to, unfortunately, have to deal with that. I would say let's just try to make better trades if we're going to trade anything in the draft, and make sure we get multiple picks for our one pick to be able to compensate for whatever we're giving up as far as positioning is concerned. And at the same time, just don't draft anybody who has an injury history, and don't draft anyone based off their potential as far as if you're going to draft them while they're injured. He drafted Kentavious Street with the notion, well, sitting for for the first year, he'll come out and he'll beast out and he'll ball out and everything will be great. Did not work out that way. But as far as this year, hopefully, all the players that were drafted will definitely help us out. I definitely hope that Javon Kinlaw comes in and just destroys offensive linemen and eats them for lunch every day. And I hope that Brandon Ayuk can help us in any and every way possible, and that he has a great season. And, he proves why he was worthy of them jumping up and going ahead and getting that extra pick. But other than that, y'all, I'm Dion. I'm your 49er reporter. I'm out. I appreciate y'all watching. Definitely please like and subscribe. And spread the word, people. Let everybody know about the channel, man. I come with good content. I definitely give y'all a different frame of mind. I don't always roll with the consensus, and I like to go against the grain because I always want to make sure that people know some things just don't pan out for you, and I like to present that different angle to get people thinking. I'm always open for, questions or concerns. If you have any, please put them in the comments. I will answer any and everything. I get back to anybody who comments on my video, and I appreciate y'all for watching. Y'all have yourselves a wonderful evening, and I'm out.